The islands of Kos, Leros, Nisairos, Patmos, and Rhodes are located in what sea? Mediterranean. These islands are part of the Dodecanese island group in Greece, situated in the Aegean Sea, which is an arm of the Mediterranean Sea. The Mediterranean Sea is a vital body of water connecting Europe, Africa, and Asia, renowned for its rich history and biodiversity. Who was the British Prime Minister at the start of World War I? Herbert Asquith. H. Asquith served as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom from 1908 to 1916. He led the Liberal government when Britain entered World War I in August 1914, navigating the initial phase of the global conflict. What is a medical term referring to the presence of pathogenic organisms in the bloodstream, leading to blood poisoning? Septicemia. Septicemia is a severe medical condition characterized by the presence and multiplication of bacteria or their toxins in the bloodstream. It can lead to sepsis, a life-threatening systemic response to infection that can cause organ damage. Members of what family were killed in the massacre of Glencoe in Scotland, on the 13th of February 1692? MacDonald. The massacre of Glencoe was a notorious incident in Scottish history where members of the clan MacDonald of Glencoe were murdered by government forces. This event stemmed from political tensions and delayed allegiance to the new monarchs, William III and Mary II, following the Glorious Revolution. What is the main qualification for being considered for the Turner Prize, which has been presented annually since 1984 and is awarded by the Tate Gallery? A British visual artist aged under 50. The Turner Prize is an annual award presented to a British visual artist to promote public discussion of new developments in contemporary British art. Established in 1984, it is awarded by the Tate Gallery and is one of the most prestigious and often debated art prizes globally. What term is used to describe an elected official approaching the end of their tenure, especially in countries like the USA, Canada, and Australia? Lame duck. A lame duck refers to an elected official whose successor has already been elected or will soon be, but who is still in office. This period often sees diminished influence as their power wanes towards the end of their term. In English folklore, what symbolizes fertility and rebirth? The Green Man. The Green Man is a legendary motif found in many cultures, particularly in medieval English church carvings and folklore. It represents new growth, rebirth, and the cyclical nature of life, often depicted as a face surrounded by or made from leaves. What is the highest mountain in Austria? Großglockner. Großglockner is the highest mountain in Austria, part of the Hoher Tauern range within the Central Eastern Alps. Standing at 3,798 meters, 12,461 feet, it is a prominent peak and a significant landmark in the country. What term was used when 15 members of a US sports team were allowed to enter mainland China after a period of over 20 years in which Americans, except on very rare occasions, had been denied visas? Ping-pong diplomacy. Ping-pong diplomacy refers to the exchange of table tennis players between the United States and the People's Republic of China in the early 1970s. This event paved the way for President Nixon's historic 1972 visit to China, signaling a significant thaw in Sino-American relations. The boundaries of 4 states of the USA, known as the Four Corners states, meet at one point, the only such geographic point in the USA. They are Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, and which other? Utah. The Four Corners Monument marks the quadrupoint in the southwestern United States where the boundaries of 4 states meet: Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah. This is the only place in the United States where 4 states meet at a single point. What was the occupation of Anna Politkovskaya, who who was found dead in the elevator of her apartment in central Moscow on the 7th of October 2006, shot twice in the chest, once in the shoulder, and once in the head at point-blank range. Journalist Anna Politkovskaya was a renowned Russian journalist and human rights activist known for her critical reporting on the Chechen conflict and Vladimir Putin's government. Her assassination in 2006 garnered international condemnation and highlighted concerns over freedom of the press in Russia. What are chlorine, bromine and iodine? Halogens. Chlorine, bromine, and iodine are elements belonging to group 17 of the periodic table, collectively known as halogens. These highly reactive non-metals readily form salts with metals and are crucial in various industrial and biological processes. What meteorological phenomenon is named after the Arabic word for season? Monsoon. A monsoon is a seasonal change in the direction of the prevailing, or strongest, winds of a region. It is most commonly associated with the Indian subcontinent, where it brings heavy rainfall essential for agriculture, and is derived from the Arabic word, mawsam, meaning season. The London embassy of which country was seized in 1980 by gunmen demanding the release of political prisoners? Iran. The siege of the Iranian embassy in London in April 1980 was a significant event where gunmen took hostages, demanding the release of political prisoners in Iran. The crisis ended with a dramatic intervention by the British Special Air Service, SAS, which stormed the building, killed most of the terrorists, and rescued all but one of the remaining hostages. This event highlighted international terrorism and the role of specialized forces in counterterrorism operations. What mythical creature is depicted on the national flag of Bhutan? Dragon. The national flag of Bhutan features a druk, or thunder dragon, which is a significant symbol in Bhutanese mythology and culture. The dragon's presence on the flag symbolizes the country's name, Druk Yul, meaning, land of the thunder dragon. The white color of the dragon signifies purity and loyalty, while the jewels it clutches represent the wealth and prosperity of the nation. Which country was under Italian control from 1911 to 1943? Libya. Italy gained control over Libya following the Italo-Turkish War of 1911-1912, establishing it as an Italian colony. This colonial rule persisted until 1943, during World War II, when Allied forces expelled Italian and German troops from the region. The period of Italian rule significantly impacted Libya's political and socio-economic landscape. Mandy Rice Davies, Christine Keeler, and Stephen Ward all became infamous in the UK for their part in what event in the 1960s? The Profumo Affair. The Profumo Affair was a major British political scandal in 1963 involving John Profumo, the Secretary of State for War, and his affair with Christine Keeler. The scandal exposed issues of national security, perjury, and moral failings within the government, leading to Profumo's resignation and significantly impacting the Conservative Party. According to the saying, what wasn't built in a day? Rome. The proverb, Rome wasn't built in a day, is a widely recognized saying that emphasizes the necessity of time, patience, and effort for achieving significant or complex goals. It highlights that substantial accomplishments are the result of gradual, persistent work rather than instant creation. The 7 brightest stars of which constellation form the asterism known as the Big Dipper in the United States and Canada, or the Plough in the United Kingdom and Ireland? Ursa Major. Ursa Major, meaning Great Bear, is a prominent constellation visible throughout the year in the northern hemisphere. Its most recognizable part is the asterism known as the Big Dipper, or the Plough, which serves as a useful tool for locating other stars, including Polaris, the North Star. Early in November 2010, the Pope made a speech in which he relaxed the Church's rules on what? Contraceptives. In November 2010, Pope Benedict XVI issued a significant clarification regarding the Catholic Church's stance on contraceptives, stating that in specific cases, such as preventing HIV infection, the use of condoms could be considered a first step towards morality. This statement, while not altering the Church's core teaching against artificial contraception for birth control, marked a nuanced shift in interpretation, generating global discussion. Who painted Number 5 in 1948? Jackson Pollock. Number 5, 1948, is one of the most iconic and significant works by American abstract expressionist painter Jackson Pollock. This masterpiece, created using his revolutionary drip technique, embodies the raw energy and spontaneity of action painting, a hallmark of mid-20th century art. How many sides does a hendecagon have? 11. A hendecagon, also formally known as an undecagon, is a polygon characterized by having 11 straight sides and 11 vertices, angles. It is a fundamental shape in Euclidean geometry, belonging to the classification of polygons based on the number of their sides. From which station in London did Eurostar trains depart for Paris from November 14, 1994, until November 14, 2007? Waterloo. Eurostar services commenced on November 14, 1994, initially departing from Waterloo International Station in London. On November 14, 2007, services were relocated to the newly constructed St. Pancras International Station, marking a significant upgrade in high-speed rail infrastructure. In Greek mythology, which infant did Hera attempt to kill by sending 2 serpents? Heracles. Hera, jealous of Zeus's affair with Alcmene, the mother of Heracles, sent 2 serpents to kill the infant in his crib. However, the remarkably strong Heracles, even as a baby, strangled the snakes, displaying his divine power and foreshadowing his heroic deeds. The Forest of Arden is a prominent setting in which play by William Shakespeare? As You Like It. The Forest of Arden serves as the primary setting for a significant portion of William Shakespeare's pastoral comedy, As You Like It. It is a place of refuge and transformation for characters escaping the rigid court life, symbolizing freedom, love, and natural beauty. Who was the first female recipient of the Latin Recording Academy Person of the Year award in 2008? Gloria Estefan. Gloria Estefan, a celebrated Cuban-American singer, became the inaugural female recipient of the Latin Recording Academy Person of the Year award in 2008. This prestigious honor recognizes her significant contributions to Latin music and her philanthropic efforts, making her a pioneering figure in the industry. If someone is described as ursine, to which animal are they being compared? Bear. The adjective ursine is derived from the Latin word ursus, meaning bear. It is used to describe characteristics associated with bears, such as being bulky, shaggy, or having a gruff manner. Which 19th century English needlework technique, combining elements of embroidery, cutwork, and needle lace, is recognized by patterns formed from small holes or eyelets bound with overcast or buttonhole stitches? Broderie anglaise. Broderie anglaise, or English embroidery, is a distinctive white work technique popular in England during the 19th century. It is characterized by patterns created using small holes or eyelets, often surrounded by satin stitches, producing a delicate and intricate lace-like effect on fabric. What was the British nickname for the V-1 rocket during the London Blitz in World War II? Doodlebug. During World War II, the British populace affectionately nicknamed the German V-1 flying bomb the Doodlebug, due to its distinctive buzzing sound and erratic flight path. The V-1, along with the V-2, represented an early form of cruise missile, causing significant terror and damage during the London Blitz. Which is the largest inland delta globally? Okavango Delta. The Okavango Delta, located in Botswana, is recognized as the world's largest inland delta. This unique ecosystem is formed by the Okavango River, which instead of flowing into an ocean, empties into a vast inland basin, creating a seasonal wetland vital for diverse wildlife. If the squares of the numbers 1 to 10 are added together, what is the result? 385. This question tests basic arithmetic series summation. The sum of the squares of the first, n, natural numbers is given by the formula n plus 1, 2 n plus 1, 6. For n equals 10, applying this formula yields 10 plus 1, asterisk, 2 asterisk 1 0 plus 1, 6 equals 10 asterisk 11 asterisk 2 1, 6 equals 2310 sixths equals 385. What area of Paris is served by the metro stations of Anvers, Blanche, Pigalle, Abesses, Lamarck, Caulaincourt, and Jules Joffrin? Montmartre. Montmartre is a large hill in Paris' 18th arrondissement, famous for its artistic history and the Basilica of the Sacré-Cœur. These metro stations provide access to various parts of this iconic Parisian neighborhood, known for its bohemian past and vibrant cultural scene. Of whom did the Greek philosopher Plutarch write, Plato admits 4 sorts of flattery, but she had 1,000. Cleopatra. Plutarch, a renowned Greek historian and biographer, wrote extensively about prominent Greek and Roman figures. His description of Cleopatra VII, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt, highlights her legendary charm and persuasive abilities, which she used to great effect in her political and personal life. In which of Shakespeare's plays is Brutus described as the noblest Roman of them all? Julius Caesar. This famous line is spoken by Mark Antony at the end of William Shakespeare's tragedy Julius Caesar. Despite participating in Caesar's assassination, Brutus is portrayed as acting out of patriotism rather than envy, making him a complex and honorable character in the play. What is a steam packet? A ship sailing a regular service between two ports. A steam packet, or packet boat, was a vessel powered by a steam engine that operated on a fixed schedule, carrying passengers, mail, and freight. These ships were crucial for intercontinental communication and travel during the 19th and early 20th centuries, playing a vital role before the advent of modern cargo and passenger liners. What is the official spoken language of China? Mandarin. Mandarin Chinese is the most widely spoken form of Chinese and the official language of the People's Republic of China and Taiwan. It is spoken by over 1 billion people worldwide, making it the language with the most native speakers globally. The official standard form is known as Standard Chinese. What, the largest of its type at the time, was destroyed by fire at Alexandria in the 1st century BC? The Library of Alexandria. The Library of Alexandria was one of the largest and most significant libraries of the ancient world, serving as a major center of learning in Alexandria, Egypt. Its destruction, possibly by fire during various conflicts over several centuries, resulted in an immense and irreplaceable loss of ancient knowledge and literature. What is the largest city in the province of Ontario, Canada? Toronto. Toronto is the capital city of the province of Ontario and the most populous city in Canada. It is a major international center for finance, arts, and culture, and is globally recognized for its multiculturalism and diverse population. Most of the state of Nevada is in which time zone? Pacific. Time zones are geographical regions that observe a uniform standard time. The Pacific Time Zone, PT, observes UTC 08:00 during Standard Time. Nevada, being in the western United States, largely falls within this zone, along with California, Washington, and Oregon. How many sides does a rhombus have? 4. A rhombus is a quadrilateral, which by definition means it is a polygon with 4 sides. All 4 sides of a rhombus are of equal length, and its opposite angles are equal. What name was given to a series of protests and political events that took place in Ukraine from late November 2004 to January 2005? The Orange Revolution. The Orange Revolution was a period of protests and political events in Ukraine following the disputed 2004 presidential election. It led to a repeat election, resulting in the victory of opposition candidate Viktor Yushchenko and marked a significant shift in Ukraine's political landscape towards democracy and Western alignment. In February 2010, Joseph Stack, a 53-year-old software engineer, crashed his light plane into Internal Revenue Service offices in which city? Austin, Texas. On February 18, 2010, Joseph Stack intentionally flew his aircraft into an office building in Austin, Texas, housing an Internal Revenue Service (IRS) field office. This act, which resulted in Stack's death and one other fatality, was a deliberate protest against the IRS and the US government, as explained in a suicide note he left behind. The marka was the base unit of currency in which country? Finland. The Finnish marka, FIM, served as the official currency of Finland from 1860 until it was phased out on January 1, 2002, when Finland adopted the euro. Understanding historical national currencies is important for competitive exams as it tests general knowledge of global economies and geography. What event involving King John of England occurred at Runnymede in 1215? Signing of the Magna Carta. The Magna Carta, signed by King John of England at Runnymede in 1215, was a foundational document establishing legal limits on the monarch's power. It influenced the development of common law and constitutional documents worldwide, particularly in the protection of individual liberties. Lava lava is a word common in the South Pacific. What does it mean? A rectangular cloth worn as a skirt. A lava lava is a traditional rectangular piece of cloth, similar to a sarong, widely worn as a skirt or kilt by men and women in various Pacific islands. It serves as a practical and culturally significant garment in daily life and ceremonial contexts across the region. Who was the mother of Queen Elizabeth I of England and Ireland? Anne Boleyn. Anne Boleyn was the second wife of King Henry VIII and the mother of Queen Elizabeth I, one of England's most famous monarchs. Her marriage to Henry VIII, and subsequent execution, was a pivotal event in the English Reformation and the separation of the Church of England from papal authority. In what country were measures announced on the 22nd of April 2010 by the Prime Minister to cut consumption of power, affecting the length of the official weekend, signs, government offices, air conditioners, street markets, commercial centers, weddings and wells? Pakistan. In April 2010, Pakistan's Prime Minister announced extensive measures to combat a severe energy crisis, including reducing the length of the official weekend and limiting power usage in public and commercial spaces. These steps highlighted the significant challenges faced by the country in managing its energy resources and economic stability. What religious organization was formed under the leadership of George Fox in the mid-17th century? Quakers. The Religious Society of Friends, commonly known as Quakers, was founded in England in the mid-17th century by George Fox. Quakers are known for their principles of pacifism, social activism, and a belief in the inner light, or direct personal experience of God, influencing various social reform movements. What are the bottom-most 3 to 5 fused vertebrae of the backbone called? Coccygeal. The coccygeal vertebrae, or coccyx, commonly known as the tailbone, consist of 3 to 5 fused vertebrae at the very base of the spine. While considered a vestigial structure in humans, it provides attachment points for several muscles and ligaments of the pelvic floor, offering support and stability. The European Parliament meets in Strasbourg and which other city? Brussels. The European Parliament operates with two main seats, Strasbourg, France, where monthly plenary sessions are held, and Brussels, Belgium, which hosts additional plenary sessions, committee meetings, and political group meetings. This dual-seat arrangement is a result of historical compromises and agreements among member states regarding the institution's location. What chemical element takes its name from the Roman name for Paris? Lutetium. Lutetium, Lu, a rare earth element with atomic number 71, derives its name from Lutetia, the ancient Roman name for Paris. It was independently discovered in 1907 by French scientist Georges Urbain and Austrian mineralogist Karl R. von Welsbach, and is used in catalysts and specialized alloys. What historical event is recounted in the traditional English folk song, The Ballad of Chevy Chase? The Battle of Otterburn. The Battle of Otterburn was a significant border skirmish between England and Scotland in 1388. The Ballad of Chevy Chase is a famous traditional English ballad that recounts a fictionalized version of this battle, highlighting themes of chivalry and conflict between the two nations. Who were the principal figures involved in the 1892 introduction of 35mm film for still photography and motion pictures? William Dixon, Thomas Edison and George Eastman. The introduction of 35mm film in 1892 was a transformative moment for both still photography and early cinematography. William Dixon, working under Thomas Edison, played a crucial role in developing the standard film gauge and perforation, while George Eastman's Kodak company was instrumental in manufacturing and popularizing this film format. The Vistula is the longest river in which country? Poland. The Vistula River is the longest river in Poland, originating in the Carpathian Mountains and flowing through significant cities like Krakow and Warsaw before emptying into the Baltic Sea. It holds immense cultural, economic, and historical importance for the country. Which British political party, led by John Hargrave, adopted green shirts as a uniform? Social Credit. The British Social Credit Party, under the leadership of John Hargrave, distinguished itself by adopting green shirts as a uniform for its members, often referred to as green shirts. This movement advocated for radical economic reforms and challenged the prevailing political norms of its time. What is the characteristic color of copper sulfate crystals? Blue. Copper, 2-sulfate pentahydrate, commonly known as copper sulfate, is characteristically a blue crystalline solid. This distinct blue hue is attributed to the presence of hydrated copper, 2-ions within its crystal lattice. The Authorized English translation of the Bible was named after which monarch? James I. The Authorized Version of the Bible, widely known as the King James Version, KJV, was commissioned by King James I of England in 1604. Completed in 1611, this translation became one of the most influential and widely used English translations of the Bible, shaping the English language and religious practice. In which city is the Summer Palace, also known as the Garden of Nurtured Harmony, located? Beijing. The Summer Palace, or Garden of Nurtured Harmony, is an expansive complex of lakes, gardens, and palaces situated in Beijing, China. This imperial garden served as a favored retreat for emperors during the Qing dynasty and is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site renowned for its artistic design and historical significance. What term is given to the collection of items accumulated by a woman in anticipation of marriage? Hope chest. A hope chest, also known as a trousseau chest or dowry chest, is a traditional piece of furniture used by unmarried women to collect household items, linens, and clothing for their future married life. This custom symbolizes preparation and anticipation for establishing a new home and family. What military slang term for members of the U.S. Marine Corps was derived from a special collar once worn around the neck by both American and British Marines and soldiers from 1798? Leathernecks. The term, leathernecks, originated from the leather stock worn by Marines and soldiers to protect their necks and maintain an upright posture, a practice dating back to the late 18th century. This historical detail reflects military traditions and uniform evolution. What device is used to regulate a person's heart rate? Pacemaker. A pacemaker is a small electronic device surgically implanted in the chest to help regulate abnormal heart rhythms. It uses electrical impulses to prompt the heart to beat at a normal rate, crucial for patients with bradycardia or other arrhythmias. What is the capital of Wales? Cardiff. Cardiff is the capital and largest city of Wales, a constituent country of the United Kingdom. It is a major economic and cultural centre, known for its historic castle, vibrant waterfront, and is a significant port city. What is the media nickname of Victor Bout, a Russian arms dealer who was said to be the inspiration for Nicolas Cage's character in the 2005 film, Lord of War? Merchant of Death. Victor Bout, widely known as the Merchant of Death, is a Russian arms dealer convicted of conspiring to kill US citizens and providing material support to a terrorist organization. His extensive illegal arms network operated globally, fueling conflicts in various regions. A cor anglais is what type of instrument? Brass. A cor anglais, despite its name, French for English horn, is a double-reed woodwind instrument in the oboe family, pitched a fifth lower than the oboe. It is not a brass instrument, but rather belongs to the woodwind section of an orchestra. By what name were Abby Hoffman, Jerry Rubin, David Dullinger, Tom Hayden, Rennie Davis, John Froens, Lee Weiner, and Bobby Seale collectively known when they appeared before Judge Julius Hoffman in 1969? The Chicago Eight. The Chicago Eight were a group of anti-Vietnam War activists charged with conspiracy and inciting riot following protests at the 1968 Democratic National Convention. Their trial in 1969 gained national attention and became a symbol of the counterculture movement and political dissent of the era. Who signed and issued the Emancipation Proclamation on New Year's Day 1863? Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1, 1863, declaring all enslaved people in Confederate States free. This pivotal executive order transformed the Civil War into a war for freedom and laid the groundwork for the eventual abolition of slavery in the United States. Which of North America's Great Lakes shares its name with a Canadian province? Ontario. Ontario is one of the 5 Great Lakes of North America, forming part of the border between Canada and the United States. It is also the name of Canada's most populous province, located in central Canada. In April 2010, after riots in the capital led to the overthrow of the government, President Kurmanbek Bakiev departed from which country, paving the way for Rosa Otunbayeva to head the new provisional government? Kyrgyzstan. This question refers to the 2010 Kyrgyz Revolution, a significant political event that led to the ousting of President Kurmanbek Bakiev. Rosa Otunbayeva subsequently became the interim head of government, marking a major transition in the country's leadership. What is the medical term for jet lag? Desynchrinosis. Jet lag, officially known as desynchrinosis, is a temporary sleep disorder caused by rapid travel across multiple time zones. It disrupts the body's natural circadian rhythm, leading to symptoms such as fatigue, disorientation, and sleep disturbances. What were the common subjects depicted by the French Impressionist painter Edgar Degas? Ballet dancers. Edgar Degas, a prominent French Impressionist artist, is widely recognized for his numerous depictions of ballet dancers. His works captured the dancers' movements, postures, and the candid moments of their lives both on and off stage. What is the former home and burial place of George Washington? Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon was the plantation home of George Washington, the first President of the United States. Located in Fairfax County, Virginia, it served as his residence for over 45 years and is also his final resting place. Who was tried for treason on the 17th of November 1603 for allegedly attempting to remove James I from the English throne? Walter Raleigh. Sir Walter Raleigh, a renowned English explorer, writer, and courtier, was accused of involvement in the main plot and tried for treason in 1603. He was charged with conspiring to replace King James I with Arabella Stuart, a cousin of the king. The Garonne River flows through Toulouse and Bordeaux after originating in which mountain range? The Pyrenees. The Garonne River is a major river in southwestern France and northern Spain, originating in the central Spanish Pyrenees Mountains. It flows northwestward, passing through significant French cities before emptying into the Atlantic Ocean via the Gironde estuary. Myalgic pain affects which part of the body? Muscles. Myalgia is the medical term for muscle pain, aches, or discomfort. It can be a symptom of various conditions, including injuries, overuse, infections, or systemic diseases affecting the musculoskeletal system. Who is second in the line of U.S. presidential succession, immediately following the vice president? Speaker of the House of Representatives. In the United States, the presidential line of succession specifies who assumes the presidency if the president is unable to serve. Following the vice president, the Speaker of the House of Representatives is the next in line to the presidency. What word describes a hatter who designs, makes, sells, or trims hats primarily for a female clientele? Milliner. A milliner is a person who designs, makes, sells, or trims hats, particularly those for women. This term dates back to the mid-16th century, likely originating from Milana, referring to a seller of fancy goods from Milan. What is an indigent person? Poor. An indigent person is someone experiencing extreme poverty, lacking the basic necessities of life. The term is often used in legal and social contexts to describe individuals who are too poor to afford legal counsel or medical care. Longacre Square, a major intersection in Manhattan, New York City, has been known by what name since April 1904? Times Square. Longacre Square was officially renamed Times Square in April 1904, after the New York Times moved its headquarters to the newly constructed Times Building. This iconic intersection is a major commercial and entertainment hub, famous for its vibrant billboards and Broadway theaters. What was the name of the official newspaper of the USSR before its dissolution? Pravda. Pravda was the official newspaper of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union from 1912 until 1991. Its name means truth in Russian, and it served as a crucial propaganda tool and primary source of information during the Soviet era. More than 99% of the mass of our solar system is contained within what celestial body? The Sun. The Sun, a G-type main sequence star, accounts for approximately 99.86% of the total mass of the solar system. Its immense gravitational pull dominates the motion of all celestial bodies within the system, including planets, asteroids, and comets. Why is the U.S. city of Pittsburgh so named? It is named after William Pitt, Prime Minister of Great Britain. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, is named after William Pitt the Elder, who served as Prime Minister of Great Britain during the 7 Years' War. The city was strategically important due to its location at the confluence of three rivers, leading to the construction of Fort Pitt in 1758. What temperature scale is referenced to absolute zero, the theoretical absence of all thermal energy? Kelvin. The Kelvin scale is an absolute thermodynamic temperature scale, meaning it uses absolute zero as its null point, where all thermal motion theoretically ceases. 1 Kelvin unit is equivalent to 1 degree Celsius, but without the degree prefix. A synapse is a space where a nerve impulse travels between what? Neurons. A synapse is a specialized junction between two nerve cells, neurons, or between a neuron and an effector cell. It is the crucial point where a nerve impulse is transmitted, typically from the axon terminal of one neuron to the dendrite or cell body of another, facilitating communication within the nervous system. Richard Colvin Reed is a self-admitted member of Al-Qaeda who pleaded guilty in 2002 in U.S. federal court to 8 criminal counts of terrorism stemming from his attempt to destroy a commercial aircraft in flight by detonating explosives hidden where? In his shoes. Richard Colvin Reed, famously known as the shoe bomber, attempted to detonate explosives concealed in his shoes on American Airlines Flight 63 in December 2001. This significant security incident prompted widespread changes in airport security protocols globally, including the introduction of mandatory shoe removal at security checkpoints. The Alexandra, Empress of Australia, Gothic, and Britannia were what kind of ship? British Royal Yachts. The Alexandra, Empress of Australia, Gothic, and most notably the Britannia, were all British royal yachts. These vessels historically served the British monarchy for official engagements, state visits, and private voyages, playing a key role in diplomatic relations and representing British maritime heritage. What name is given to someone who can follow an animal that is some distance ahead in the wild? Tracker. A tracker is an individual highly skilled in identifying and interpreting signs left by animals, such as footprints, scat, and disturbed vegetation, to determine their presence, movements, and often their species. This expertise is vital for wildlife research, conservation efforts, and in certain indigenous and survival practices. Since 1980, what has been the official country residence of the British Foreign Secretary? Chevening. Chevening House, located in Kent, has served as the official country residence of the British Foreign Secretary since 1980. This historic stately home is managed by a board of trustees and designated for use by a senior cabinet minister, frequently the Foreign Secretary, providing a setting for official engagements and repose. How many orbits of the Earth did John Glenn make in Mercury Atlas 6 in 1962? 3. In 1962, John Glenn became the first American to orbit the Earth aboard the Mercury Atlas 6 spacecraft, famously named Friendship 7. During this pioneering mission, he completed 3 full orbits of our planet, marking a monumental achievement in the early stages of the space race and American manned spaceflight. Who was the Roman god of the underworld? Pluto. In Roman mythology, Pluto was the revered god of the underworld and also associated with wealth, due to the precious minerals found beneath the Earth's surface. He is the Roman counterpart to the Greek god Hades, presiding over the realm of the dead. A parsec is a measure of what? Distance. A parsec is a unit of length used to measure large distances to astronomical objects outside the solar system. 1 parsec is approximately 3.26 light-years or 3.086 times 10 to the 16 meters. It is commonly employed in astronomy and cosmology to express stellar distances. The Dalai Lama fled Tibet in 1959 due to its occupation by troops from what country? China. The 14th Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, fled Tibet in March 1959 following the Tibetan uprising against Chinese rule. He subsequently established the Tibetan government in exile in Dharamshala, India. This event marked a significant point in modern Tibetan history and international relations. The Jewish festival of the Passover is held around the same time as which Christian festival? Easter. Passover, Pesach, is a major Jewish holiday commemorating the exodus of the Israelites from slavery in ancient Egypt. It often coincides with Easter, a Christian festival celebrating the resurrection of Jesus Christ, because the Last Supper is traditionally understood as a Passover Seder. What part of the body is affected by conjunctivitis? Eye. Conjunctivitis, commonly known as pink eye, is an inflammation of the conjunctiva, the transparent membrane that lines the eyelid and covers the white part of the eyeball. It can be caused by viral or bacterial infections, allergies, or irritants, leading to redness, itching, and discharge in the eye. What type of music is Handel's Messiah? Oratorio. Handel's Messiah is an English-language oratorio composed by George Friedrich Handel in 1741, best known for its Hallelujah chorus. An oratorio is a large musical composition for orchestra, choir, and soloists, typically based on a religious theme and performed without costumes, scenery, or dramatic action. The element cobalt gets its name from the German word for what? Goblin. The element cobalt, Co, was named by Swedish chemist Georg Brandt in the 18th century. Its name derives from the German word, kobold, meaning goblin, or evil spirit. This term was used by miners for the troublesome ore, which was difficult to extract and sometimes emitted toxic arsenic fumes. Which country was proclaimed a People's Republic on the 1st of October 1949, following the defeat of forces led by Chiang Kai-shek? China. The proclamation of the People's Republic of China on October 1, 1949, marked the culmination of the Chinese Civil War. Mao Zedong declared its establishment in Beijing, following the Communist Party's victory over the nationalist forces of Chiang Kai-shek, who subsequently retreated to Taiwan. This event fundamentally reshaped global geopolitics. What bridge, completed in the 12th century, is on the Rhône? Pont d'Avignon. The Pont d'Avignon, formerly known as Pont Saint-Benazet, is a famous medieval bridge across the Rhône River in Avignon, France. Constructed in the 12th century, only 4 of its original 22 arches remain today. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is celebrated in the children's song, Sur le Pont d'Avignon. What is the meaning of the word, dinosaur? Terrifying lizard. The word, dinosaur, was coined in 1842 by Sir Richard Owen, a British paleontologist. It derives from the Greek words, dinos, terrifying, fearful, mighty, and sauros, lizard or reptile. This etymology reflects the awe-inspiring size and appearance of these extinct creatures when they were first scientifically described. Memorial Day, formerly known as Decoration Day, a U.S. federal holiday observed on the last Monday of May to commemorate U.S. men and women who died while in military service, was first commemorated to honor soldiers in which war? American Civil War. Memorial Day originated after the American Civil War to honor both Union and Confederate soldiers who died in service. The first large-scale observance was on May 30, 1868, when General John A. Logan of the Grand Army of the Republic called for a nationwide day of remembrance, then known as Decoration Day. It became a federal holiday in the United States in 1971. What country is due north of Hawaii? USA. The Hawaiian Islands are an archipelago in the central Pacific Ocean and constitute the 50th state of the United States. While Hawaii is an integral part of the USA, geographically, its main islands are located far southwest of the continental United States. The question refers to the political entity, hence the USA is the correct answer. Who led a team to make the Cumberland Gap, a passage through the Appalachian Mountains, accessible to pioneers journeying into the western frontiers of Kentucky and Tennessee? Daniel Boone. Daniel Boone, a celebrated American frontiersman, played a pivotal role in the westward expansion of the United States. He is primarily known for blazing the Wilderness Road through the Cumberland Gap in the late 18th century, which became a crucial route for pioneers seeking to settle in Kentucky and Tennessee. Between 1903 and 1904, sites in the Australian townships of Albury, Tumut, Orange, Bombala, and Dalgety were considered for what purpose? The capital of Australia. Following the Federation of Australia in 1901, intense debate ensued regarding the selection of a permanent national capital. Numerous sites were considered across New South Wales before Canberra was eventually chosen in 1908, fulfilling the constitutional requirement that the capital be located within the state. To which bodily activity does the term peptic refer? Digestion. The term peptic is derived from the Greek word peptikos, meaning able to digest. It specifically relates to the digestive process, particularly involving the stomach and the actions of digestive enzymes like pepsin, which aid in breaking down proteins. Where is the 82,000-seat Maracana Stadium located? Rio de Janeiro. The Maracana Stadium, officially known as Estadio Jornalista Mário Filho, is an iconic open-air stadium situated in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It holds significant historical importance, having hosted two FIFA World Cup finals, 1950, 2014, and the opening and closing ceremonies of the 2016 Summer Olympics. If Prince William of Wales, the elder son of King Charles III, ascends the throne as King William, what regnal number would he adopt? William V. Regnal numbers are traditionally used to distinguish monarchs of the same name who have reigned in a country. Should Prince William become king, he would be known as William V, following four previous monarchs named William in British history, the most recent being William IV, who reigned from 1830 to 1837. Which country is the world's largest producer of rice? China. China stands as the largest producer of rice globally, a crop that serves as a staple food for a significant portion of the world's population. Its extensive agricultural land, favorable climate, and advanced farming techniques contribute significantly to its dominant position in global rice production and food security. The U.S. Civil War was in which century? 19th. The American Civil War was fought from 1861 to 1865, placing it entirely within the 19th century. This conflict profoundly impacted American society, leading to the abolition of slavery and the reunification of the nation. In which sea is the British Overseas Territory of Montserrat located? Caribbean Sea. Montserrat is a British Overseas Territory located in the Caribbean Sea, part of the Lesser Antilles. It is known for its volcanic activity, particularly the Surya Hills volcano, which has significantly impacted the island's geography and population. How many times did the United Kingdom hold more than one general election in a single year during the 20th century? Twice. The United Kingdom held more than one general election in a single year twice during the 20th century, in 1910 and 1974. These instances often occurred during periods of political instability or hung parliaments, necessitating a second election to form a stable government. What is the term for the stress that causes a metal object to break over time? Metal fatigue. Metal fatigue is a localized and progressive structural damage that occurs when a material is subjected to cyclic loading. This repeated stress, even below the material's yield strength, can lead to cracks and eventual failure. Understanding fatigue is crucial in engineering design to prevent catastrophic failures in structures and machinery. What is the term for a religious censure used to deprive or suspend membership in a religious community? Excommunication. Excommunication is a severe ecclesiastical penalty that deprives an individual of the rights of church membership, including participation in sacraments and holding office. It is a form of religious censure, historically used by various faiths, most notably in Christianity, to enforce doctrinal conformity and moral standards within the community. What is the official language of Australia? English. While Australia does not have a de jure official language, English is the de facto national language, spoken by the vast majority of the population. This reflects its history as a former British colony and the predominance of English-speaking immigrants. From 1885 to 1908, a corporate state of 2,344,000 kilometers, 905,000 square miles, privately controlled by Leopold II, King of the Belgians, became infamous for mistreatment of the local peoples and exploitation of natural resources. What was this area known as? Congo Free State. The Congo Free State was a large area in Central Africa that was privately owned by King Leopold II of Belgium. During his rule, the region was subjected to extreme brutality and exploitation of its rubber and ivory resources, leading to a catastrophic decline in the indigenous population. International outcry eventually led to its transfer to the Belgian government as the Belgian Congo in 1908. A coherer, hot wire barretter, and cat's whisker were all types of what? Radio detector. These devices were early forms of radio detectors crucial for receiving wireless signals in the nascent days of radio communication. The coherer was one of the first effective detectors, while the cat's whisker detector was a simple point contact diode used in early crystal radios. They played a vital role in the development of radio technology before the advent of vacuum tubes and solid-state electronics. What U.S. state borders both Kansas and Utah? Colorado. Colorado is a western U.S. state known for its diverse landscape of arid desert, river canyons, and the snow-covered Rocky Mountains. It shares borders with 7 other states, including Kansas to the east and Utah to the west. Which American explorer claimed to have been the first person, on the 6th of April 1909, to reach the geographic North Pole? Robert E. Peary. Robert E. Peary was an American explorer who claimed to have reached the geographic North Pole with his assistant Matthew Henson and 4 Inuit men. His claim, however, has been subject to considerable debate and controversy over the years regarding its accuracy and the exact location reached. What was the only part of the British Isles to be occupied by Germany during World War II? Channel Islands. The Channel Islands were the only British territory occupied by German forces during World War II, from June 1940 until liberation in May 1945. This occupation had significant impacts on the local population and wartime strategies, providing a unique historical perspective on the war. What was the fate of the 57 Africans aboard the ship, La Amistad, who, in July 1839, revolted against their captors near Cuba and was subsequently discovered by the U.S. Navy? They were freed and returned to Africa. The Amistad case was a landmark legal battle in the United States concerning the rights of Africans who had been illegally enslaved. After a Supreme Court ruling in 1841, arguing that they were victims of illegal slave trading, the surviving Africans were granted freedom and repatriated to West Africa with the help of abolitionists. What physical quantity does a candela measure? Luminous intensity. The candela, CD, is the SI base unit of luminous intensity, which measures the power emitted by a light source in a particular direction per unit solid angle. It is a fundamental unit in photometry, relating to the human eye's perception of light. On which island is Massachusetts Harbor located? Malta. Massachusetts Harbor is a natural harbor on the island of Malta, situated to the north of the larger Grand Harbor. It is home to various yacht marinas and is a prominent feature of Malta's coastline, separating the capital city Valletta from Sliema. What is the median of the following set of numbers? 1, 2, 2, 5, 9, and 17. 3.5. The median is the middle value in a dataset when the numbers are arranged in order. For an even number of data points, like this set of 6 numbers, the median is the average of the two middle values. Here, the ordered set is 1, 2, 2, 5, 9, 17, so the median is 2 plus 5, 2 equals 3.5. What is a howitzer, a type of gun? A howitzer is a type of artillery piece characterized by a relatively short barrel and a high angle of fire. It is designed to deliver projectiles in a high, arcing trajectory, primarily for indirect fire support in military operations. The migration of the Islamic prophet Muhammad and his followers from Mecca to the city of Medina in 622 CE, which marked year 1 of the Islamic calendar, was known by what name? Hijra. The Hijra, or Hegira, signifies the migration of Prophet Muhammad and his followers from Mecca to Medina in 622 CE. This pivotal event marks the commencement of the Islamic calendar and the establishment of the first Muslim community. Which king of Macedon created one of the largest empire in ancient history between 336 and 323 BCE, encompassing most of the city-states of mainland Greece and the then Persian-ruled Asia Minor? Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great, king of Macedon, established one of the largest empire in ancient history, spanning from Greece to northwestern India. His military campaigns and conquests, from 336 to 323 BCE, profoundly influenced the spread of Hellenistic culture across a vast geographic area. Where are the Minoan ruins of Knossos located? Crete. The Minoan ruins of Knossos are found on the island of Crete, Greece. Knossos served as the significant ceremonial and political center of the Minoan civilization, a prominent Bronze Age culture known for its advanced architecture and artistry. What do sleepers primarily support in railway construction? Railway lines. Sleepers, also known as railroad ties, are structural components laid perpendicular to railway tracks. Their primary function is to hold the rails at a fixed gauge and distribute the load from the rails to the track ballast, ensuring stability and safety of the railway line. What name was given to the political and social movement that unified the states of the Italian peninsula into the single country of Italy in the 19th century? Il Risorgimento. Il Risorgimento, meaning, the resurgence, in Italian, was a 19th century political and social movement that culminated in the unification of the various states of the Italian peninsula into the single nation state of Italy. This complex process primarily occurred between 1815 and 1871. Which geographical area does Mount Vesuvius overlook? Bay of Naples. Mount Vesuvius is an active summer stratovolcano located on the Gulf of Naples in Campania, Italy. It is renowned for its devastating eruption in 79 CE, which buried the Roman cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum, making it a significant historical and geographical landmark. How many lungs does a healthy human typically have? 2. A healthy human body typically possesses 2 lungs, a right and a left, situated within the chest cavity. These crucial organs are integral to the respiratory system, facilitating the vital exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. After the Battle of Landriano, French monarch François I was forced to concede defeat in which war? The War of the League of Cognac. The Battle of Landriano in 1529 was a pivotal engagement during the War of the League of Cognac. This French defeat compelled King François I to sign the Treaty of Cambrai, which significantly curtailed French influence in Italy and established Habsburg supremacy. On the Christian calendar, what day immediately precedes Ash Wednesday? Shrove Tuesday. Shrove Tuesday, also known as Pancake Day, is the day before Ash Wednesday, which marks the beginning of Lent for Western Christians. It is traditionally a day for feasting and using up rich foods like eggs, milk, and sugar before the fasting period of Lent. With which country is the sombrero traditionally associated? Mexico. The sombrero is a distinctive type of broad-brimmed hat, deeply rooted in Mexican culture and tradition. Originating in Mexico, it is designed to provide extensive shade from the sun, reflecting the country's climate and heritage. The lychee fruit is native to which region? Southern China and Southeast Asia. The lychee, Lychee chinensis, is a tropical fruit tree native to the Guangdong and Fujian provinces of southeastern China, and extends into Southeast Asia. It is highly valued for its sweet, fragrant fruit, which has a rough red rind and translucent white flesh. In French cuisine, what is the traditional dish of pickled herring called? Gendarme. In French culinary tradition, gendarme refers to a specific preparation of pickled herring. This dish involves curing the fish in a briny solution, often flavored with vinegar and spices, preserving it while developing a distinct taste profile. How is it generally accepted that John Wilkes Booth, the assassin of Abraham Lincoln, died? He was killed by soldiers in Northern Virginia. John Wilkes Booth, after assassinating President Abraham Lincoln, was pursued for 12 days before being cornered by Union soldiers in a barn in Port Royal, Virginia. He was shot by Sergeant Boston Corbett when he refused to surrender and succumbed to his injuries shortly thereafter. What was the name of the state that was never officially admitted into the Union of the USA after delegates from some North Carolina counties declared independence from North Carolina in 1784, and, in 1788, went back to being part of North Carolina? Franklin. The state of Franklin was an unrecognized secessionist state in the Appalachian Mountains, formed by settlers from North Carolina. It existed from 1784 to 1788, attempting to gain admission to the United States before ultimately rejoining North Carolina. What name was given to a narrative poem typically sung by troubadours, medieval minstrels? Lay. A lay is a narrative poem, often short and sung, especially popular in medieval Europe. Troubadours were poets and composers who performed such works in northern France during the 12th and 13th centuries. Where is the Burj Al Arab Hotel, known for its sail-like shape, located? Dubai. The Burj Al Arab is a luxurious hotel located in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. It is famous for its distinctive sail-shaped design and is one of the tallest hotels in the world. In Greek mythology, Zeus disguised himself as a swan to seduce whom? Leda. In Greek mythology, Leda was a Spartan queen who was famously seduced by Zeus, who had transformed himself into a swan. This union led to the birth of children such as Helen of Troy and Clytemnestra. In Roman Catholicism, where are souls believed to be held after death for purification before entering heaven? Purgatory. Purgatory, in Roman Catholic doctrine, is an intermediate state after physical death for expiatory purification before souls achieve full sanctification and enter heaven. It is a fundamental concept illustrating the belief in a continued process of spiritual cleansing. In Greek mythology, who devised the strategy of the Trojan horse? Odysseus. The Trojan horse is a pivotal element in the Trojan War narrative, famously described in Homer's Odyssey and Virgil's Aeneid. Odysseus, a resourceful Greek hero, conceived this stratagem, allowing the Achaean forces to infiltrate the city of Troy and ultimately achieve victory. Balsam and cottonwoods are species of what tree genus? Poplar. Balsam poplars and cottonwoods are well-known species within the genus Populus *, commonly referred to as poplars. These fast-growing deciduous trees are native to temperate regions of the northern hemisphere and are often cultivated for timber and environmental purposes. Who is the naval officer in Giacomo Puccini's opera, Madame Butterfly? Lieutenant Pinkerton. Lieutenant B.F. Pinkerton is a central character in Giacomo Puccini's opera Madama Butterfly based on John Luther Long's short story. He is an American naval officer whose temporary marriage to San, Madama Butterfly, forms the tragic core of the opera. What was the name of the last British monarch from the House of Hanover? Victoria. Queen Victoria was the last British monarch from the House of Hanover, reigning from 1837 to 1901. Her reign, known as the Victorian era, marked a period of significant industrial, cultural, political, scientific, and military expansion for the British Empire. When did a human last walk on the moon? 1972. The last time humans walked on the moon was in December 1972, during the Apollo 17 mission. Astronauts Eugene Cernan and Harrison Schmitt were the last of 12 individuals to have explored the lunar surface. The Apollo program was NASA's human spaceflight initiative which successfully landed humans on the moon between 1969 and 1972. Who served as Minister Chairman of the Russian Provisional Government and Prime Minister of Russia from July to November 1917, following the abdication of Tsar Nicholas II and prior to the Bolshevik Revolution? Alexander Kerensky. Alexander Kerensky was a key political figure during the Russian Revolution, serving as the Minister Chairman of the Russian Provisional Government in 1917. His government held power after the abdication of Tsar Nicholas II but was ultimately overthrown by the Bolshevik Revolution in October 1917. According to the Bible, money is the root of all. What? Evil. The phrase, money is the root of all evil, is a well-known adage derived from the Bible. Specifically, it originates from 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 10, which states, "For the love of money is the root of all evil." This verse emphasizes that the desire for money rather than money itself, is the source of many moral failings and destructive behaviors. In Greek mythology, who was the hero associated with riding Pegasus, the winged divine stallion? Perseus. Perseus, a famous hero in Greek mythology, is known for riding Pegasus to rescue Andromeda from the sea monster Cetus. Pegasus, a winged horse, was born from the blood of Medusa after Perseus slew her. Which country has the largest Roman Catholic population? Brazil. Brazil has the largest Catholic population in the world, a legacy of its Portuguese colonial history. Catholicism remains the predominant religion in the country, significantly influencing its culture and society. In which century did Edward the Confessor ascend to the throne of England? 11th century. Edward the Confessor became King of England in the 11th century, 1042 AD. He was one of the last Anglo-Saxon kings of England, and his death without a direct heir led to the Norman conquest of 1066. What is the name of the supercomputer developed by the National Supercomputer Center in Tianjin, China, which became the world's fastest supercomputer in October 2010 with a peak performance of 2.507 petaflops? Tianhe 1A. Tianhe 1A was a significant supercomputer developed in China, noteworthy for achieving the title of the world's fastest supercomputer in October 2010. Its peak computing rate of 2.507 petaflops demonstrated China's growing prowess in high-performance computing at that time. What was the first name of the First Lady of the United States? Martha. Martha Washington, born Martha Dandridge Custis, was the wife of George Washington and thus the First Lady of the United States. She played a significant role in establishing the social customs and decorum of the presidential household during the early years of the Republic. What is the specific term for a squirrel's nest? Dray. A dray is the technical term for a squirrel's nest, typically built in the forks of trees or tree hollows. These nests are usually constructed from twigs, leaves, moss, and other plant materials, providing shelter and warmth for squirrels and their young. In 1965, who became the first person to summit Mount Kennedy, at the time the highest mountain in Canada that had not yet been climbed, that had been named in honor of John F. Kennedy after his assassination? Robert Kennedy. Mount Kennedy, located in the St. Elias Mountains in Yukon, Canada, was named in honor of President John F. Kennedy after his assassination. His brother, Robert F. Kennedy, led the expedition and became the first person to reach its summit in March 1965, a significant event in mountaineering history. Who commanded the Spartan fleet in the Hellespont, which defeated the Athenians at Aegospotami in 405 BC? Lysander. Lysander was the Spartan admiral who decisively defeated the Athenian fleet at the Battle of Aegospotami in 405 BC. This crucial naval victory effectively ended the Peloponnesian War, leading to Athens' surrender and the establishment of Spartan hegemony in the Greek world. What device, invented by Peter Cooper Hewitt in 1902 and obsolete by 1975 with the introduction of devices such as the silicon diode and thyristor, converts alternating current to direct current by means of putting electricity through vapor? Mercury arc rectifier. The mercury arc rectifier, invented by Peter Cooper Hewitt in 1902, was a pioneering electrical device used to convert alternating current, AC, into direct current, DC, by passing electricity through mercury vapor. It was instrumental in industrial applications and public transport systems before being superseded by more efficient solid-state devices like silicon diodes and thyristors. La Plata is the capital city of which province of Argentina? Buenos Aires. La Plata is the capital city of the Buenos Aires province, Argentina, located about 60 kilometers southeast of the city of Buenos Aires. It is known for its precisely planned square grid layout and neoclassical architecture. Where is the Palazzo Farnese, the Farnese Palace, in which, in Puccini's opera, Tosca, the heroine confronts Scarpia, the malevolent chief of police? Rome. The Palazzo Farnese is a grand high Renaissance palace situated in Rome, Italy, recognized as one of the most important high Renaissance palaces. It currently serves as the French embassy in Italy. Its architectural significance and historical context make it a notable landmark. The Bombay duck or bamalo is what type of creature? Lizardfish. The Bombay duck, scientifically known as Harpdon nereus, is a species of lizardfish found in the Indo-Pacific region. Despite its common name, it is a marine fish and not a duck, popular as a food source, particularly in South Asia where it is often dried and cured. In 300 BC, the country now known as Spain was part of which empire? Roman. In 300 BC, the Iberian Peninsula, which constitutes modern-day Spain, was significantly influenced and gradually incorporated into the burgeoning Roman Empire. This region, known as Hispania to the Romans, became a crucial province providing resources and manpower, deeply integrating into Roman culture and administration over centuries. Where was the capital of the Roman Empire in 400 AD? Ravenna. By 400 AD, Ravenna had become the capital of the Western Roman Empire, replacing Milan due to its strategic location and strong fortifications amidst increasing Germanic invasions. This shift reflected the empire's declining power and the necessity of a more defensible capital, eventually becoming the capital of the Ostrogothic kingdom after the fall of Rome. What name is given to sympathetic pregnancy? Kuwade syndrome. Kuwade syndrome is a condition where a male partner experiences symptoms of pregnancy alongside their pregnant partner, such as weight gain, nausea, and altered hormone levels. It is believed to be a psychosomatic response, highlighting the strong psychological bond and empathy between expectant parents during the gestation period. Cerro Aconcagua in the Andes, the highest mountain in the Americas and the highest mountain outside Asia, is 112 kilometers, 70 miles, from which closest city? Mendoza, Argentina. Cerro Aconcagua, standing at 6,961 meters, 22,838 feet, is the highest peak in the western and southern hemispheres, located in the Andes mountain range. Mendoza, Argentina, serves as the primary base city for expeditions attempting to summit Aconcagua, owing to its proximity and well-developed tourist infrastructure for mountaineers. What country was divided at the 38th parallel in 1945? Korea. After World War II in 1945, Korea was divided at the 38th parallel into two occupation zones by the Allied powers, the north occupied by the Soviet Union and the south by the United States. This division eventually led to the establishment of two separate states, North Korea and South Korea, and was a precursor to the Korean War. Die Fledermaus is an operetta composed by Johann Strauss II. What is a Fledermaus? Bat. Johann Strauss II's Die Fledermaus, The Bat, is one of the most famous operettas of all time, a quintessential work of the golden age of Viennese operetta. An operetta is a light opera, typically with spoken dialogue, songs, and dances, often featuring romantic and comedic plots, distinguishing it from more serious operatic forms. What is the largest species of whale? Blue whale. The blue whale is the largest animal on Earth, belonging to the baleen whale suborder. This endangered species can be found in all oceans and plays a crucial role in marine ecosystems, despite facing significant threats from whaling in the past. The Romanov dynasty ruled which country? Russia. The Romanov dynasty was the second and final imperial dynasty to rule Russia, reigning from 1613 until the abdication of Emperor Nicholas II in 1917. Their rule, spanning over 3 centuries, significantly shaped the political and territorial development of the Russian Empire. A shadoof is for lifting what? Water. A shadoof, also known as a counterpoise lift, is an ancient irrigation tool used for lifting water from a well or river onto fields. It consists of a long pole with a bucket on one end and a counterweight on the other, pivoted on a vertical support. The parliament of which country has met at the Binnenhof since 1446? Netherlands. The Binnenhof is a historic complex of buildings in The Hague, Netherlands, that has served as the meeting place for the States General, the Dutch Parliament, since 1446. It is one of the oldest continuously used parliament buildings in the world. Where was the Battle of Hastings, which took place on the 14th of October 1066 between the Norman army of Duke William II of Normandy and the English army of King Harold II? Senlac Hill. The Battle of Hastings, a pivotal event in English history, was fought on Senlac Hill, near modern-day Battle, East Sussex. This decisive Norman victory led to the conquest of England by William the Conqueror and profound changes in English society, culture, and language. Pedology is the study of what? Soil. Pedology is the scientific study of soil in its natural environment, focusing on its formation, classification, and characteristics. This field is vital for agriculture, environmental science, and understanding ecosystem health. What part of the body is affected by the condition called rickets? Bones. Rickets is a childhood condition characterized by soft, weak bones, bowing of the legs, and impaired growth. It is primarily caused by a prolonged deficiency of vitamin D, calcium, or phosphate, which are vital for healthy bone development. What was the code name for the German invasion of Russia in World War II? Operation Barbarossa. Operation Barbarossa was the code name for the Axis invasion of the Soviet Union, launched on June 22, 1941, during World War II. It was the largest land invasion in history, opening the Eastern Front and becoming a pivotal and brutal theater of war. With what activity was Isadora Duncan associated? Dance. Isadora Duncan was a pioneering American dancer and choreographer who is widely regarded as one of the founders of modern dance. She advocated for natural, expressive movement as a form of art, breaking away from the rigid traditions of classical ballet. What type of story begins, once upon a time, and ends, they lived happily ever after? Fairy tale. Fairy tales are a genre of folklore characterized by their magical elements, fantastical beings, and often a moral lesson. They typically follow formulaic structures, including iconic opening and closing phrases, and have significantly shaped children's literature and cultural imagination. What was the first land passage between Manhattan Island and Brooklyn that, on its opening in 1883, became the longest suspension bridge in the world and its towers the tallest structures in the Western Hemisphere? Brooklyn Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge, completed in 1883, was a pioneering engineering marvel connecting Manhattan and Brooklyn. It was the first steel wire suspension bridge globally and held records as the longest suspension bridge and tallest structure in the Western Hemisphere, profoundly influencing urban development and bridge engineering. Which medieval work of literature, sometimes called the world's first novel, is still available today? The Tale of Genji. Written by Murasaki Shikibu in early 11th century Japan, The Tale of Genji is often considered the world's first novel. This seminal work offers a panoramic and psychologically intricate portrayal of aristocratic life in the Heian period, influencing centuries of Japanese literature. What phrase means, "Let the buyer beware"? Caveat emptor. Caveat emptor is a Latin phrase meaning, "Let the buyer beware." It is a traditional legal principle in contract law, especially in commercial transactions, asserting that buyers are responsible for performing due diligence and inspecting goods before purchase, thereby assuming the risk of defects. King Umberto II ruled Italy for 40 days from May 9, 1946, to June 12, 1946. What caused his reign to end? A public referendum decided Italy should become a republic. King Umberto II's brief reign, often dubbed the May King, ended after a national referendum on June 2, 1946. This referendum abolished the monarchy, leading to the establishment of the Italian Republic and marking a pivotal moment in Italy's post-World War II history. The Gorbals is an area in which city? Glasgow. The Gorbals is a historic area on the south bank of the River Clyde in Glasgow, Scotland. Historically known for its working-class population and tenements, it has undergone significant urban regeneration and redevelopment in recent decades.